Uh, okay, we are live for the icebreaker, which has gone out live streaming to platinum subscribers who have also submitted the questions for our guest today. If you want to get onto the live stream in future, then check out patreon.com/HK podcasts or hukia.substack.com. Or just look at the link in the blurb of this, actually, and you'll see the link to become a subscriber. And you can have the opportunity to submit questions to future guests. You haven't got the opportunity right now. You missed it, so you're going to have to listen. This episode will roll straight into a full podcast with the guest, so hang around after it and listen to the full one. Perfecto. Right. Yukari, welcome. Welcome to Hey Shower.
Hi.
Another guest, which is the first ever interview for the guest. Which is the last guest was the one before that was good. Good.
Hi.
But, you seem immediately relaxed and a nice, calm, natured, gentle person. So I'm sure we're going to be fine.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
However, we got to see what the questions they've got in store for you from the patrons.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get straight into those. So. Question one. I did give you a little warning before this. Okay, question one. I don't know where this came from. Obviously, it came from somewhere. Longevity rave. All right.
Uh-huh.
If you could live forever, this question is from Coke.
Okay.
If you could live forever, would you?
It depends on if I'm physically and mentally healthy. If I'm physically and mentally healthy, then yes, of course, I would love to. I think I would like to live forever.
Yeah, it's.
Good question. Would I like to live forever? Well, actually, I don't think I would like to live forever. I changed my mind because I do think that there is a certain when you know that you're going to die, there's a more of an appreciation for your life and others around you because you know that your time is limited. And I feel like if I were to live forever, like how would I be able to track my, own growth and really appreciate that for billions and billions of years? I don't think I would be able to at my current, if I'm, if I don't evolve and it's just, me at my current brain capacity. So I would like to live longer. I think I'm all about, for longevity wise, I'm all about living longer and healthier and happier, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I want to live forever. Yeah.
Good answer. Can you do me a favor and take that off for me? Thank you. The lanyard.
Lanyard.
Not the... no.
I was
Clear the lanyard.
I was like, what?
Okay, question number 2, moving swiftly on. How could the UK improve from adopting something from Japanese culture?
Ooh,
and vice versa?
Great question.
That's a superb question.
That's a great question because I love both cultures, obviously. I identify a lot with both cultures as well.
What age did you come to the UK?
14.
Okay.
Yeah, 14. But I also lived in the US a little bit before that.
I'm getting the accent.
Yeah, so I lived kind of everywhere, but I am very much strongly rooted in my Japanese culture. I identify as Japanese. So I'm going to go reverse. So because I definitely feel that a lot in terms of what Japan can learn from the UK. I love my culture, but I have a lot of criticisms about it as well, especially being a Japanese woman. It's a very homogenous culture. It's very conformist, and it's extremely high pressure as well. And that can be good because, people are really hardworking. They follow the rules. They, are very, very considerate of those around them. But that also comes with having to fit into a certain standard or a certain mold, and following the rules. And if you don't follow the norm, or if you, somehow don't fit what they think is good or, suitable for society, and fit into a label, whether that's, as a woman or as a Japanese person, or as a young person or, whatever, then you're kind of looked weirdly upon, or that's frowned upon a little bit. That's not always the case. And I feel like a lot of foreigners who go to Japan, they don't feel that because all of those standards and all of those norms don't apply to them because they have the foreigner or like gaijin standard. Oh, they're foreign, so it's fine. But for me, I'm not foreign. I'm Japanese. I look Japanese. So all of those standards are applied. And obviously, being an international Japanese person, I don't fit into those some of the molds that they have. For example, I'm very independent. I'm very, strong. I have I have strong opinions. I have, my background is different. My upbringing is different. Even my personality is different. Even the color of my hair. I dye my hair a lighter color in Japan. That's there's a social stigma around women who dye, women and men, but who dye their hair. they're looked upon as, somehow, yeah, not smart, or like not, there's like certain labels attached to it. So I think I really dislike how it's if you don't fit in, you sometimes feel like you're not part of it, or you're not looked down upon. But obviously, I don't feel it all the time. But one of why that's the case is because Japan is not really diverse. When you go to Tokyo, there's a lot of foreigners in terms of tourists, but I don't think a lot of normal, daily Japanese communities and those international communities, they don't mingle. A lot of Japanese people can't really speak fluent English either. If you go to Japan, you'll see that it's very localized. And there's definitely there's not a lot of integration between the different communities or people there. So one thing that I love about the UK is that it's so diverse, or especially London. I've lived in London for around 14, 15 years. But it's so diverse. And, there's so many different cultures and values, and so many different people who look different and who speak different, who act different. So there's no kind of standardized norm. But in Japan, because it's so homogenous, there is. So I think Japan can learn from the UK in terms of, accepting diversity, more integration within society or daily life, and not just being more open-minded, because I think Japan is still very conservative, and a lot of people struggle to be open-minded. So that's
Well, we can definitely talk about that more on the podcast.
Yeah, sorry, I went on a really long time.
No. There's no.
Yeah, I feel a lot of strongly towards these things. So.
No. There's no need to apologize at all. It's always really good to meet someone who's from a very different culture.
Yeah.
Just different. Everyone's from a different background.
Yeah.
But has done some time thinking about the differences and the pros and cons. Is good. Okay. When have you been happiest, and overall, how happy are you now?
Wow, great question. I'm actually 100% confidently say that I am the happiest now. I'm doing... So I can go into this a bit more in the podcast, but I've struggled a lot with my own mental health a lot, and also my self-confidence, and kind of, being secure within myself and who I am. But now I've overcome that through music and dancing and, raving. And, now that we're doing this project called Longevity Rave, and now that I started DJing, I really feel like, I'm doing what I'm passionate about. And I met so many amazing people through this community. And yeah, I feel like I'm following my heart and my gut, and doing what I want to do. So yeah, I think I'm happiest now.
That will make anyone very happy. Very happy. Okay, another question from Coke. Which group of people do you think are the most and least happiest? And he's talking demographics here. He gives the example, for example, men over 40. Now, why he chose, I feel discriminated against. Coke, I feel discriminated against. Which means men over 40. I am happy. Most happier, not least happiest. Who do you think? Like demographic wise, who are you going to say who's the most happiest demographic right now? Let's say,
demographic.
let's say in the UK.
In the UK, most happiest demographic. Can we count like kids and children?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think children. Gen. So I think I'm technically on the cusp of Gen Z millennials. Before that, I think they're called Gen Alphas, maybe. Yeah, Gen Alphas, I think.
What period is that?
So people who were born before me, so like 2000 and I don't know, 2000 to now, basically 2025. People who are born in this era, I think. Yeah.
Okay. What are they called? Gen Alpha.
Gen Alpha, I think. Yeah.
Sounds a bit too cool, like. It's a bit too cool for them. I want them.
Just because I know that there's so many, a lot of mental health issues among the young demographic as well. But just looking back on when I was a kid, I was so happy. So when you're young and when you don't have life's problems, you're relatively more happier. You're protected as well from the shit that is society. But
it's a tough question.
Yeah, tough question. And maybe older generations is too. Maybe to the two extremes. I think older generations might be pretty happy. They have wealth and they have security, and I feel like they're kind of in their own little bubble. So yeah, maybe least happy. I can be inclined to say. I think my generation, like millennials, are pretty. I feel like every generation who's their generation will say that their generation is the unhappiest. I feel that that's like a stereotype, but I do think that a lot of millennials and a lot of the demographic just above that, so people who are in their like 30s, like 30s, I would say, who I think are not unhappy, but I think they're very cynical about everything. They're very cynical. They're very realistic. They don't really have the optimism in life just because they've been through so much things in their their main years of life, pandemic, recession, world war, all of these things and social media, and they're all kind of like aware of that. They're not young enough to be, to not know those things. So
it's an interesting point. So yeah, being a realist. And to try and maintain optimism is extremely challenging. Yes, really good point. I'm the eternal optimist.
Yeah,
always have been.
Yeah,
and to my detriment sometimes. I always see the positive, always see the best outcome. I don't see the negative, so I always think about everything's be fine. Everything will be fine. We'll get through it. And then over the last 3 or 4 years, I've been doing this for 6 years, but over the last 3 or 4 years of doing this and speaking to different people, I've become more realistic about things. And my God, it's difficult to maintain some optimism sometimes. I thought, I didn't really think like that. Come on, man.
I mean, honestly, the amount of people around me who are like, who want to have kids, but they feel that they probably never can. They want to get married, but they think that they never can. They want to find a partner, but they never can. They want to quit their job or find a new job, but they can't. So
those are eternal problems.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got a bunch of questions from David as well. Coke, I know I missed a couple of your questions, but I will get round to those later on. Okay, so from David, now he's asked a question which we're going to come on to in the podcast about your personal journey, what led you to longevity rave, but we're going to come on to that podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you think joy and connection are being overlooked in mainstream health and longevity conversations?
Oh my gosh, 100%. So that's why that links back to why we started Longevity Rave, because there is emotional health and emotional well-being is so underlooked. Everyone focuses on, the biological aspects of it and the biological physical health, which is obviously equally important. But how can you maintain that if you're not happy, if you're not happy with your life. Longevity is all about wanting to live, or where's that you need that motivation to want to live a longer life, and that doesn't come if you're not happy in your life. There's people. Well, I definitely know that when you struggle with not being happy and not surrounding yourself with people, um, you just don't want to live anymore. And I think that is severely undermined and not focused enough upon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree. What has been, so again from David, what's been the most surprising or moving reaction you've seen at a longevity rave event so far?
Surprising or moving reaction. Honestly, every longevity rave, I feel amazing energy and from everybody. But I think just seeing the different generations of people come together, and older people who we've gotten feedback from older people who've never who haven't gone out and haven't danced in so long, and they come to this nervous, and because but they're able to dance and really enjoy the music, and they come to us, be like, wow, I didn't know that at my age I could still go out and still have fun. And it's like, oh, well, of course you can have fun at any age. And, it doesn't, just because you have, you're a certain age doesn't mean that you can't do what brings you joy. And also on the other side, seeing people who've never gone to race because they feel like it's dangerous or scary, or they're it's people are judgmental or whatever. They go to these events, and they dance, and they seem really happy and enjoy the music, and yeah, they come to me and be like, wow, that was so amazing. I didn't know that dancing can be so fun. And um, yeah, and that actually comes from a lot of some of my Japanese friends who've never really we don't really come from a culture of dancing. So yeah, that was really nice as well.
Cool. Yeah. I think a lot of it, the people who wouldn't go and do it or panic about doing it, it's all about inhibitions, right?
Yeah.
You need to lower your inhibition,
Yeah.
and stop worrying about what people think about what you look like dance. They're worried about themselves.
Yeah.
Not even worried about themselves, they're enjoying the moment. And when people are in that happy place, they're dancing, they're really enjoying it.
Yeah.
The last thing that's going to spring into their mind is to look across the dance floor and see someone dancing, and all of a sudden they'll go all negative.
Yeah.
They're not the kind of people who are at these places.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I totally agree. If you could change one thing about how society views aging, what would it be?
That aging is a bad thing. I think society views aging as something to be afraid of, especially, from my culture, as in Japanese culture, they're just saying that, oh, once you hit 30 and you're a woman, you're like, your life's over,
Is that really?
Well, it's not a thing. I'm very much exaggerating and generalizing, but it is a thing. Like, oh my God, I'm a 30-year-old woman and I'm not married, and what am I doing with my life? And no, I'm not, it is a thing. So, and I think we have to change that. I think aging is amazing, and as long as you can maintaining your physical and mental health is really important. But you can age well, and you can I see people who are older than me who I want to be like them, and every time I age, every year I become happier, and I grow, and I'm really excited to continue to age, and I'm not afraid of being older anymore. So that's really good. And I think once you stop being afraid of getting older, I think then you can fully embrace what life has to offer you.
It gets harder to do that as you get older.
Yeah.
I speak from experience. Right, we're going to pause there. There are a few more questions, but we'll bring them up on the main podcast. So 1 second. if you are listening to this on your podcast app after the live stream, so in Spotify, iTunes, or whatever, then carry on listening. This is going to roll straight into the next episode in your feed, which will be the full podcast with Yukari. So hang tight, and I will see you on that episode. Live streamers watching this, give me 5 minutes, and we will be back.